So how much HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is enough for you to start applying for jobs and looking at them and getting interviews, right? That's the question that we all ask. And the real simple answer is if you can make hello world happen on your webpage, you should be good to go. No, I'm just joking. But it is a question that is asked. You should be thinking about it, and you may feel that you're not ready. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video is what are those essential skills that you're going to want to know and foster and develop if you want to become a web developer in 2025. So becoming a web developer, you're going to want to know 3 different things, at least at the bare minimum, which is going to be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, the importance of HTML, obviously, hypertext markup language, it's the backbone of web development. It's there for you to structure your layout, right? It's the fundamental blocks. And so I always think of the HTML as if we're talking about a human being, right? This is the bones. This is the structure of creating or building up a human. And just like a web page, right? We need to start off with some structure so later we can slap on some paint, which is going to be your CSS. Now, as far as the fundamentals of HTML, typically you can probably knock that out in 2 to 3 weeks with dedicated study. And the fundamental knowledge of this will allow you to create basic web pages or applications. And this is a critical first step in your coding journey. Now, if you're interested in a roadmap, I forgot to tell you, make sure you take a look at the description. You can go down there and you can download the PDF of the roadmap for web development. Now, while you're learning the HTML, obviously it's pretty straightforward, however, very important for you to continue that learning process. You're going to start discovering new elements, new attributes that will not only enhance your future web pages, but you may want to actually revisit some of the earlier ones that you have done to add on what you already are learning. Right? So some of the things that you may want to look up for web development, and we're just talking about HTML only, you're definitely going to want to understand the tags. You want to understand the attributes that go along with these elements. You're going to want to know how to create headings, paragraphs, links, embedding images, videos, building lists and tables. Now, I'm going to put in the description as well where another instructor actually has quizzed a few students, and they have surpassed or they've completed a W3 Schools course, and he plainly asked them to do some simple things with the HTML, and you'll be surprised at some of the results. So knowing a good foundation, having that good foundation for HTML, you definitely want to make sure that you have that. Now, the next thing that you want to make sure that you have underneath your belt is the CSS, right? This is how we style everything. This is the skin. If we're talking about the human HTML is the bone, CSS is going to be the skin. So once you have a handle on HTML, you want to progress onto CSS. And this is what is going to be responsible for the design of your web pages. Right? CSS allows you to control the look and feel of the web, and the things that you're going to want to pay close attention to when it comes to CSS, you're going to want to pay attention to selectors, properties, values. You definitely want to understand the box model and the various layout techniques, especially with flex as well as grid. So that brings you into responsive design, allowing you to do media queries. Hey, does it look good on the desktop as well as a mobile device? Now, many developers, you're going to find yourself Googling, right, all the time, and that's perfectly fine to the coding process. But when you are applying some of these concepts that you're looking at, it could seem very overwhelming. And I always tell my students that you're not there to memorize things, but you need to know how to look things up. Right? So it's totally okay if you forget, hey, how do I attack this attribute of this style, right? Well, you have documentation, you can look that up. And that's going to be the key to making beautiful websites, is being able to manipulate those various elements. Now, the last part in here definitely is the JavaScript. JavaScript allows us to add interactivity to our web pages. This is where things kind of get exciting. It's the programming language that brings the web pages to life, allowing you to add interactivity, dynamic content, and if the HTML is the structure, the CSS is the style, right? JavaScript is much like the plumbing or the electrical work that makes everything function really smoothly. So definitely getting a solid understanding of JavaScript will require more time, a lot more effort on your part, but it's definitely essential if you're going to become a web developer that's probably looking outside of the scope of doing WordPresses. And so some of the things that you are going to want to learn with JavaScript is, you definitely want to know the fundamentals, variables, arrays, loops, right? And then that's when you can progress into manipulating the web pages, right? The document object model, or known as DOM manipulation. You're going to be able to handle events, handling functions, handling button clicks, and understanding basic structures and algorithms as well. So you're going to be building simple projects utilizing JavaScript, hopefully, when you're going through this learning process. And that's just going to enhance your learning experience to know how to problem solve with the JavaScript to get the web page to act the way that you want. So, one of the most common concerns, right, is when do you start applying for the jobs, right? And for a new developer, that is going to be part of your experience, right? Is when can you start applying for the jobs? And the answer might be a little simpler than what you may think, but if you can build something that is tangible, whether it's a basic website, a small application, and you can explain your thought process and the technologies that you've used, you're ready to start applying, right? You have something that you can talk about, something that you can bring to a junior developer interview, right? And so you can start building portfolios. It's a great way for you to showcase your skills. And even if you're on the early creations of this, and they don't have to be perfect, just seeing your enthusiasm, your effort that you put into it can definitely impress your potential employers. So here's a few things that you may want to think about when you are deciding, hey, am I ready to start applying with the skills that I have learned, right? You want to create a portfolio to display your projects. You definitely want to network with other people, meaning, hey, go to LinkedIn, start making posts, talk about your experience, talk about what you've been building, engage with communities, with platforms, like I said, of LinkedIn, and there's even GitHub. Also, you can attend meetups that are local as well as online to help expand your network. And so you should always be networking whenever you have that bandwidth, right? I can't explain it or can't say it anymore, but networking is super crucial to not only the tech industry, but this will allow you to open up many job opportunities that may arise, because you may meet somebody that works for a company and then you see them post on LinkedIn that a position is available, and hey, you now have a connection, you have a way in order to get your foot inside the door. So really, the amount of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that you need to know before you start applying just boils down to, what do you have the ability to create and showcase your work? If you can understand the fundamentals, you can build functional projects, then you're ready to leap into the market. Just remember that continuous learning and networking are key for you to be successful in your tech career. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one. Make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or any suggestions for anybody else looking to get into the tech of web development, post it down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.